Hey guys, and welcome back to the randomized K-On! Pokemon Team Series. Let's see how well Mio scored. Mio's first Pokemon will be Simisage. Not the most amazing start. The Elemental Monkeys aren't the most liked Pokemon, I think mostly due to their designs. Simisage doesn't look terrible, but far from my favorites. Its stats are decent, a pretty fast mixed attacker, but not very bulky. For abilities, they're meh. Gluttony seems a bit wasteful if you regularly use berries, and Overgrow is alright. For level up moves, it's typical like with most stone evolutions. Seed Bomb is a strong stab attack, but you should keep it pre-evolved for a while for more options. For TMs, it does get some decent coverage to counter its weaknesses. You can make a good moveset with this. So, while not useless by any means, it's still not a great way to start the team. Mio's second Pokemon will be Wobbuffet. The Team Rocket special. Wobbuffets can be pretty devastating in the right hands, but it is still almost strictly a gimmick Pokemon. Its stats alone show this off best. Insane HP, but garbage everything else. For abilities, they both have their uses, Shadow Tag being the most prevalent from what I know. For level up moves, it's another example of Wobbuffet's role. It gets no direct damage attacks, it can only counterattack and try to take something down with it with Destiny Bond. For TMs, it gets nothing besides a move it already knows naturally. So, an interesting team member to get. It can be effective if used well, but given that Madrybread failed to legitimately finish a challenge run with it, it's best we leave it as a gag in the anime. Mio's third Pokemon will be Manectric. Now that's a step up. Manectric is a highly spoken of Hoenn Pokemon, and it got even better with its Mega Evolution. For stats, I guess it could be considered the Gen 3 version of Jolteon, just not quite as fast. For abilities, 2 are best used in double battles, and 1 is most often come across in standard playthroughs. For level up moves, having access to Fire Fang to help with grass types is terrific if you can get it. Other than that, it's pretty standard for a pure electric type. No Thunderbolt, but Discharge is a decent substitute. For TMs, it's kind of funny how they gave it more fire attacks, though the coverage is most welcome, and Snarl's pretty decent for more. So, a damn good team member to have. If Mio had access to its Mega, it'd be even better, but base Manectric is still valuable. Mio's fourth Pokemon will be Clawitzer. I'll admit I know very little about this one, but I can say that Clawitzer would definitely scare Mio with its huge claw. With the exception of speed, it has pretty decent stats with outstanding special attack. Kinda feels like the inverse of Breloom. For abilities, it sounds extremely useful. Having a buff to certain attacks is nothing to scoff at. For level up moves, there's some surprising coverage, especially since 5 of them are actually affected by Mega Launcher. Just having Water Pulse, Aura Sphere, Dark Pulse, and Dragon Pulse would be enough for most situations. For TMs, it gets even more coverage. There are so many options to use with what it can learn. So, a very good score for Mio. It might not be the friendliest looking Pokemon, but it looks strong, and I imagine players have used it effectively. Mio's fifth Pokemon will be Lantern. Here's a cute one Mio would definitely like. Lantern is unfortunately not the most impressive Pokemon available, and one that MJTV says desperately needs some attention. It is pretty bulky in HP, and special stats and speed aren't terrible, but this is still pretty middling. For abilities, they gave it one that does nothing in battle. Thematically it makes sense, but practically, that means Lantern technically only has 2 abilities. For level up moves, it's pretty good. Bubble Beam can tide you over until you get Surf, Discharge is a good substitute for Thunderbolt, and Signal Beam counters grass types, so that alone makes a good moveset. For TMs, being able to add Ice moves or Dazzling Gleam for extra coverage, in addition to Stab, Water and Electric, and Signal Beam if you wanted, means Lantern could hit pretty much all types for at least neutral damage. So overall, this is not a terrible team member to have. It could probably use some kind of buff, but you can still get a lot of use from it. And Mio's last Pokemon will be Mega Medicham. And here's the first Mega for the Kalos section. Mega Medicham is a decent Mega, though I haven't used one. but Megas overall are meant to be better versions than the base forms. While it doesn't get a gargantuan buff to its stats, they do still get better, especially attack and speed. For abilities, it does lose its base form's hidden ability, but I don't think it's that big of a loss since Pure Power is amazing to have, adding to its already impressive 100 attack. For level up moves, though it would take some work, getting all 3 elemental punches is superb. Add a stab fighting attack like Force Palm and that's impressive coverage. For TMs, it opens up a bit. Getting rock moves to counter flying types and Shadow Ball for ghost types is very helpful. You can do quite a bit with the moves it has access to. So a great ending to the team. Let's wait and see what other Megas show up. And that's it for Mio's Gen 16. I'd call this very decent. Mio would definitely need to save the Mega Evolution for the right time, but she'd be smart enough to know that. As always, please rate, comment and subscribe, don't forget to follow me on X, consider backing me on Patreon, and remember to stay chilled.